the mover of this motion, the mover of this no confidence motion, and he became the first speaker. Just before the BJP's first speaker could start the debate from the government side, a question was asked as to why Rahul Gandhi was not choosing to speak first. To which the response that we got from the Congress party was that he wants to speak only when the Prime Minister is present in the House. Well, that's likely to happen over the next 2 days. But first, the story.
हिंदू सभ्यता संस्कृति में बिलीव कर रही है, इसीलिए अलौकिका पंडिता की तरह जो पूरा किताब में लिखा हुआ है कि क्या क्या करना चाहिए भारतीय नारी को, उसका पूरा का पूरा पिक्चर सोनिया जी देगी। उनको दो काम करना है, बेटे को सेट करना है।
आज आप लोग मणिपुर का नाम लेकर के, नॉर्थ ईस्ट का नाम लेकर के बार बार जो आप लोग बोल रहे हैं, काश आप लोग 2014 के पहले के परिस्थिति को याद करते तो आपको आज नॉर्थ ईस्ट का नाम अपने जुबान पर लेने के लिए भी आपको सोचना पड़ना था।
What this parliament cannot afford is a no confidence motion against the central government, because every political party must give their constructive suggestion at the moment.
प्रधानमंत्री महोदय ने एक मौन व्रत लिया कि सदन में ना लोकसभा में कुछ बोलेंगे ना राज्यसभा में कुछ बोलेंगे, और इसीलिए अध्यक्ष महोदय ये नौबत आनी पड़ी कि हम अविश्वास प्रस्ताव के द्वारा प्रधानमंत्री मोदी जी का मौन व्रत हम तोड़ना चाहते हैं।
जुमले पे जुमला, लाइक अमित शाह जी सच बोलते, आपकी बात साइड से बहुत कम। ये वो या गडकरी साहब बोले थे कि ये जुमला ये गले की हड्डी हो गया, ना नीचे जा रही है ना बाहर आ रही है, दैट इज द प्रॉब्लम।
और मैं सरकार से सवाल पूछना चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि सितंबर 2020 से जब से ये सदन मिला था कोविड के बाद, आज तक इस सदन में चीन के ऊपर चर्चा नहीं। क्या ऐसा हो सकता है कि ऐसी थिएटर लेवल की इंकर्शन हो, घुसपैठ हो और हमारे खुफिया तंत्र को पता ना लगे?
हर 3 घंटे में एक महिला का शारीरिक उत्पीड़न उत्तर प्रदेश में हो रहा है, और उत्तर प्रदेश की सरकार और केंद्र की सरकार ये डबल इंतजाम नहीं ले रही है।
If anybody loves India, they will oppose Modi, because his government has been a government of failed promises and disastrous policy decisions.
Women and children brutally killed. Where? It is not in Manipur, sir. It is in I.N.D.I.A, sir. Our Prime Minister, the former Chief Minister of Gujarat, was ruling the government.
All right, so the end of the day, the numbers matter, because this is a no confidence motion that's been moved. It will be followed by a vote. So how do the numbers stack up? The numbers are overwhelmingly in favor of the NDA. The government on its side currently, with the BJD and the YSRCP, has 365. That is a mammoth majority compared to what the opposition has. The entire India Alliance party, India Alliance of 26 parties, they have 140 odd. There are undecided 32, but that figure has progressively come down because some of the fence sitters have decided to back the NDA like they did for the Delhi Services Bill yesterday. The breakup of this 365, the BJP itself has 301 out of this 365. That's almost 90% of the NDA seats. The Shiv Sena Shinde faction has 13, the LJP has 5, the BJD and the YSRCP are a significant chunk. That adds up to 34 seats, 22 of the YSR Congress and 12 of the Biju Janata Dal, and another 12 who are others, smaller parties. All of that adds up to 365. The opposition, on the other hand, the Congress is 51, the TMC 23, the DMK 24, the JDU, which fought in alliance with the BJP in 2019, they have 16, Shiv Sena Uddhav Thackeray faction 6, and others 21. It adds up to 141. The undecided is very, very less. It's in fact less than 1% of the strength of the Lok Sabha. So if the numbers are stacking up this way, then why do we believe that 2024 will be a contest? Perhaps a more even contest, or perhaps even more of a contest than what we saw in 2019, because these numbers in the Lok Sabha don't tell you the full story. Let's take you now to the magic wall. And the magic of the magic wall is now going to come forth and show you how it's not just in the Lok Sabha, but if you were to take an aggregate of the various Vidhan Sabha elections that we have had over the last 5 years, from 2018 to 2023, the overall number of votes that the NDA has polled in all of these assembly elections in the last 5 years is 23.2 crores. The India Alliance parties, and mind you, there are a large number of strong regional parties, the DMK, the TMC, etc., in these last 5 years in assembly elections have polled a little more than 26 crore votes. So essentially, there's about a 3 crore plus vote difference in the assemblies. And also in terms of number of seats, the NDA has 1,704 seats in various assemblies. The India Alliance parties have 1,793. So that's the breakup in the state assemblies. In the Lok Sabha in 2019, where the BJP had 303 on its own, they polled 25.9 crore votes with 331 seats, whereas the India Alliance polled 22.9 crore votes. There was a 3 crore vote difference between the NDA and the India Alliance, but the number of seats was less than half, the India Alliance having only 142. Let me now take you up to speed with yet another, and this is how it is likely to play out in 2024, because between these two alliances, the NDA on the one side, the India Alliance on the other, more than 87.7% of seats out of the 29 states in the country are either with the NDA or with the India Alliance. Similarly, in terms of votes, almost 80%, so 4 out of 5 votes that Indians polled in the 2019 election either went to the NDA or went to the India Alliance. Similarly, 90% of the votes in 18 states, that is 2/3 of the states in this country, 18 states, 90% of the votes went to either of these two alliances. Another 9 states, you had 80% of the votes. These are states which have third-party players, Andhra Pradesh, Odisha, third-party players who are strong, who are either ruling that state or are strong opposition parties in those states who managed to get 80% of the votes. So what this means is that the fence sitters, if 90% in 18 states and 80% in all 29 states have gone to either of these two alliances, then that means the 2024 game will be essentially a 2-horse race between these two alliances. The scope or the elbow room for any kind of a third front or a third-party alliance or third regional players to survive or thrive will be much, much more reduced compared to what it was in 2019 or in 2014. So let me bring in our guests who are joining us on the debate tonight. I've got a very special panel. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi is BJP Member of Parliament and National Spokesperson. Supriya Srinath, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party and Head of the Social Media Department of AICC. Sushmita Dev is Member of Parliament of the TMC. And Smita Prakash is Editor of ANI. Thank you very much for joining us on Brass Tacks. Let me start off with Dr. Trivedi. The contention of the India parties is that they wanted this debate. They know fully well that the numbers are not on their side, Dr. Trivedi, that the NDA has overwhelming numbers in the Lok Sabha. The only reason they had to move this no confidence in the Lok Sabha was to get the Prime Minister to speak. And today at the start of the debate, he was not present in the House. Please respond. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, that question is to you, sir.
The question is to me.
Yes, that is to you.
थोड़ी ये आवाज आपकी क्रैक हो रही है, इसको ठीक करवा दीजिएगा.
जी.
I just want to make one point, what you have said. It has nothing to do with the Prime Minister. It has nothing to do with the government, because they are very clear in their mind that they are standing nowhere in front of the towering personality of Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, or can stand anywhere as far as the national aspect is concerned in front of NDA or BJP. It has to do with the mutual competition among the various opposition parties to prove that they are bigger. For example, I have already said that when Rahul Gandhi embarked on the Bharat Jodo Yatra, it was to show the other opposition party their place. Because several leaders have started nurturing the ambition of taking the space of the principal opposition party, whether it was Sharad Pawar ji, Nitish Kumar ji, Kejriwal ji, KCR or Mamta ji. Now, since Aam Aadmi Party has forced Congress to support them on Delhi bill, so they have taken the route of no confidence motion. Now with this they can show to all political parties, look, as far as opposition is concerned, we are the prime player and you are just playing on the sidelines. Because in parliament it's very clear. You get the time of speaking based on the strength of your party. So if as far as opposition is concerned, definitely Aam Aadmi Party will be the, Congress Party will be the biggest, having the lion's share. तो मैं तो ये कहना चाहूंगा, this is nothing but a tactics or a strategy by Congress Party to show the other opposition party their real face.
Okay.
That you have left with no other option to come and stay behind the line us, and then we can lead the opposition party. We can lead the opposition.
Okay, so Supriya Srinath, at the start of the debate, there were messages, even last night, this morning, messages that our Congress reporters were receiving, messages that were flying around on social media, that Rahul Gandhi will start the debate. This will be his first speech in Parliament after his return, after disqualification. But that was not to be. And we're given to understand that that is because Mr. Gandhi wants to speak only when the Prime Minister is present in the House. What was the point of all of that speculation, all of those messages doing the rounds that Mr. Gandhi will start the debate? And why this insistence? Once again, isn't this highlighting the fact that more than the no confidence, more than Manipur itself, which is the issue of this no confidence, you are insistent that Mr. Modi speak and that Mr. Modi be in the House? That's why Rahul Gandhi did not want to open the debate today. He wants to speak only when the Prime Minister is present.
So Indian media doesn't cease to surprise me, and I'll tell you why. And I will also first respond to the frivolous, flawed arguments made for almost 2 minutes 34 seconds by the BJP spokesperson. The reality is that a state of the Indian Union has been on fire for the last 97 days. The reality is that a horrific video put forward the plight of Manipur, and it took that horrific video and 78 days for an elected Prime Minister to break his silence, and he spoke for only 36 seconds before indulging in whataboutery. The reality is that from the Women and Child Development Minister to the Women Commission of India, the National Commission for Women in India, they did nothing before the horrific video did not come to light. The reality also is that we tried through various ways to make the Prime Minister speak, because the Prime Minister is not just another MP or not just another minister. He is the elected Prime Minister of India, somebody whose moral compass and moral responsibility is to come and tell the House what's happening in Manipur. Why is he quiet? Why has the government not been dismissed? Why is there no president rule? Why did it take him 80 days to break his silence? And who's showing him the mirror? His MLA who says this is state-sponsored violence. One of his MLAs completely paralyzed because of the violence. The Supreme Court of India, which has no faith in the government of Manipur, and the governor of Manipur saying the situation is beyond control. I have informed the higher-ups, nothing has happened. So these are the people who are talking. The reality is that it took a no-confidence motion from us, fully well knowing this is not about numbers, that maybe the Prime Minister will come and speak now. That's what parliamentary tradition is. But the leader of the House, it seems, had some more pressing, urgent matters to attend and not even be a part of the discussion that started today on something as important as Manipur, a state of India which is on fire for the last 97 days. Have you heard one appeal from the Prime Minister for peace? Have you heard one word of consolation to the people of Manipur? Parliamentarians from across party lines can go to Manipur. Rahul Gandhi can go independently to Manipur, meet the people, show faith in them, but the Prime Minister of this country can't. So no, I disagree with you. The question that needs to be asked at prime time today is, why is it that the leader of the House in the Lok Sabha, an elected Prime Minister, is escaping and running helter-skelter from Parliament? He
No.
has chosen not to show his face in either
So-
of the two houses.
so-
You don't think that's bizarre? You don't
Okay.
think that should be put to question?
No, I did
It's quite
ask.
bizarre
I did
you
ask
ask
Sudhanshu
why that
Trivedi exactly
insists.
that question as to why did the Prime Minister not be there when the start of the debate happened.
I can't
but
hear you.
I want to go
I
to
just
Sushmita.
can't hear you.
I want to go to Sushmita Dev. Sushmita Dev, you know, the entire contention of the opposition has been that they want Mr. Modi to speak, right? That's why you've moved to no confidence, not because Mr. Modi's government lacks the numbers, right? Now, my understanding is, and we've spoken to a couple of previous Secretary Generals of the Lok Sabha, there have been instances in the past where no confidence motions have been moved and Prime Ministers or leaders of the House at that time have not spoken. There have been instances, and there is no hard and fast rule that the Prime Minister has to speak or that the Leader of the House has to speak. So tomorrow and day after, if for some reason the Prime Minister chooses not to speak or the Prime Minister does not come to the House to take part in the debate, then what becomes the point of the no confidence motion? Because to begin with, it was not about the numbers. It was just with the sole intent of getting him to speak. And if he doesn't speak, then it's defeated both in numbers as well as in intent.
Jaka, I would first like to say that when a no confidence motion is moved in the Lok Sabha, it can't be moved in the Rajya Sabha. It is against a government and the Prime Minister is the head of the state. And in that motion, which has been moved by the India alliance parties, it is categorically written there why they have moved it and how the Prime Minister's silence is a big question in the entire country. In these circumstances, if you tell me that the Prime Minister may still avoid to join this debate or may still avoid Parliament, and let me tell your viewers that in this entire session, Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi has not come for even 1 second into either houses of the Parliament. If he does not come to the no confidence motion because he is confident about his numbers, then I think that's the biggest damage Prime Minister Modi will do to himself. And as far as I know, where a Prime Minister chooses not to be even present in a no confidence motion will be one of the worst precedents in the history of parliamentary democracy. You see, there are moments that you have to pick your battles in life. And this is one situation where I think Prime Minister Modi is doing himself a great disservice by avoiding the parliament and avoiding his participation in the Manipur debate.
Okay.
Today when the no confidence motion started, what is it that Mr. Gogoi, Member of Parliament, said? He said if Prime Minister had come at the start of the Parliament, spoken about Manipur, given a message to the people of Manipur that the entire Parliament stands with the people of Manipur and we all want to restore peace, it would have been the best message that would have gone to Manipur. Now, I don't want to repeat what Supriya Shrinate said. This has become an issue because of the 77 days of silence. And let me tell you, the viral video, the video of the two women which came out became controversial. But I don't think a single citizen of this country believes that Prime Minister did not already know what is happening in Manipur, given that he is the Prime Minister of the country and he must have intelligence report on the number of rapes, arson, the amount of exchange of gunfires, and that is what makes his silence highly questionable and extremely unfortunate for the country. If he doesn't come to the Parliament, at the cost of repeating myself, he is only demeaning the parliamentary democracy and is going to harm his image even more. Doesn't matter what Mr. Trivedi says that he is the tallest figure and this and that. He is accountable to Parliament. So, no matter how tall a figure you are, you cannot avoid that in a democracy.
Let me go to Smita Prakash as well. One of the phrases that Sushmita Dev used was to pick your battles, right? And it's clear from proceedings on day one of this debate on the no confidence motion that Mr. Gandhi wants to speak only when Mr. Modi is in the House. So it's entirely likely that he will end up speaking only on the third and final day when the Prime Minister is scheduled to speak. And convention has been that the last speaker is usually the leader of the House, the Prime Minister, the head
Just
of the
like your
government.
reporters are wrong,
All
so
right.
are you.
No, one second. So let me ask Smita Prakash.
You're wrong
that
there.
if-
You're making a wrong assumption.
One
I'm
second.
correcting you. I'm the official
One second.
spokesperson of the Congress.
Please correct me when I come to you, right? Let me go to Smita first. Smita Prakash.
You are making a
the
wrong
question-
assumption about my leader. I think I have every business to correct you.
Of course you are. Not in the middle of my show. No, I'll come to you, Supriya. One second. Smita,
You are
the
making
question,
a wrong assumption. Your question is wrongly placed. That's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm being a well-wisher here.
Thank you. I'll give you ample time to correct me once you allow Smita Prakash to make her point. Okay, Smita Prakash, the question I wanted to ask you was about picking your battles, right? If Mr. Gandhi is going to be the penultimate speaker in this debate and Mr. Modi is going to be the final speaker, obviously that is what is going to be remembered of this debate. That's how television channels are going to frame it. That's how newspapers are going to frame it. And there again, isn't that a handicap for Mr. Gandhi, the Congress Party, the India Alliance? Because time and time again, we've seen in the past, when the battle is framed as Modi versus Rahul, Mr. Modi almost invariably wins.
Zaka, I don't think we know as yet as to when Mr. Gandhi is going to speak. Now, as far as today is concerned, initially I also didn't get as to why he didn't speak today. I mean, the conventional thing is that, yeah, he should have spoken today and he would have dominated the news cycle today. He would have dominated the news cycle tomorrow till such a time that Mr. Modi comes in, and then the news channels and the newspapers would go on to Mr. Modi's speech. So why forfeit that eyeballs to somebody else? And somebody bole to Gaurav Gogoi. So why forfeit that news cycle to somebody who's not going to be your chosen leader? But then that would be something that would be conventional wisdom. But I think the Congress Party, and I don't know the workings of the Congress Party, but my guess is that the Congress Party is not so concerned about capturing media cycles or news cycles. I think the messaging, though Supriya might not agree with what Sudhanshuji might have to say, but I think there was a subtle messaging sending out to the India unit, and justifiably so, that it is going to be RG versus Modi in 2024. If it has been proven that, the Congress Party did not want this thrusting of this Delhi bill down the throats of the India grouping, but Aam Aadmi Party insisted on that. They made it a prestige issue. The Congress is the largest unit in India, so it has to be RG versus Modi, and the coalition better get that going. I mean, it's the small stuff which gave it away. I mean, look, Sudhanshuji has his point of view as far as the party is concerned. But look at it, the Aam Aadmi Party was in sharp focus during the Delhi bill. But what happened? Derek O'Brien tried to grab eyeballs from the TMC. It was a high decibel speech. But it was the medium pesa Jairam Ramesh. It was the Dusra by Gaurav Gogoi. It was the spinners of Chidambaram ji and Abhishek Manu Singhvi. They clearly proved that they have a mature plan compared to any other unit in the India grouping. So it's probably a wise move. I found it strange that today, the artillery was held back by both the India grouping as well as the BJP. There was talk that Smriti Irani and Nirmala Sitharaman would be there, but they held back. And tomorrow they're going to have Amit Shah, Nirmala and Smriti Irani speaking. So I don't know who from the India grouping will be speaking, because in the India grouping there is a serious lack of strong speakers. Today the India grouping had excellent speakers. You had Supriya Sule, you had Gaurav Gogoi, Dimple Yadav, Pinaki Mishra, so many of these speakers who have already spoken. So who's left now other than Rahul Gandhi from the other side? Manish Tiwari has also been used up. So who's left, who's like the big guns, the Bofors from there? Maybe Bofors should be used. I don't know, any other artillery gun from the Congress side. So whereas the BJP has the strong speakers still. And let's go to the third day. I think Rahul Gandhi versus Modi will be a fabulous conclusion to this debate.
But you don't think it will be a disadvantage to the India Alliance or to the Congress Party if it gets framed as Rahul versus Modi?
But I don't think think so. I don't think that, if we are going to be comparing oratorial skills and things like that, yes, Mr. Modi is certainly great. But at some point of time, Rahul Gandhi has matured. He's no longer the 2018 person, who would speak and fumble with Hindi and with mixing Hindi and English and things like that. No, there's been a lot of difference. Bharat Jodo Yatra has done wonders for Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and I think he has improved in his speaking skills, and he must have been rehearsing because he must have known that he's going to be used on the third day.
All right, Supriya, yeah, you said I made a presumption about your leader and you want to correct me. Go ahead.
Yes, you stand corrected just like your reporters do. You stand corrected because you're assuming that he's going to speak on the penultimate day. You're assuming too much. And I just want to step back a little and say, it's not Mr. Modi versus Mr. Gandhi. It's actually the way this government works versus the rest of this country. It's Mr. Modi versus Manipur. It's Mr. Modi versus the 32 lakh Manipuris who he has not chosen to speak about for the last 3 months, 97 days to be precise. And which is why I want to understand from you, what is the compulsion of, this is not a televised debate. This is about a very, very serious issue. So I don't think there is firepower or anything. Let me actually point out some things that have been said on this debate. There are 2 Manipur MPs that the BJP has. Not one was made to speak today. And you know what? The man who chose to open the debate for the Bharatiya Janata Party is a serial offender. A man who chose to call an MP colleague in Lok Sabha and a woman MLA from his constituency, Vaishali ki Nagar Vadhu, which essentially translates to prostitutes. He opened the debate on Manipur, the trigger for which were those horrific videos of women. So this is what the BJP has become. The BJP is no longer where Sushma Swaraj or Atal Bihari Vajpayee or Advani ji were fielding. The BJP today is where a pervert like Nishikant Dubey was opening the debate, who has actually said some really bad things about women. And I also want to understand here, Rahul Gandhi has no handicap. Rahul Gandhi has the country behind him. Rahul Gandhi has been to Manipur, has met those people, has understood their pain. Unlike the Prime Minister, he was not gallivanting in France and America and Egypt and the West Asian countries. Unlike the Prime Minister, his plane actually went to Manipur. The Prime Minister may have made Manipur a no-fly zone area. That's the reality, and that's what India wants to see.
Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, respond on an issue such as Manipur, which even the Supreme Court has taken cognizance of. They've formed an SIT yesterday, retired High Court judges, women judges are going to be overseeing the inquiries that are happening in Manipur. Why is it that the Prime Minister has not spoken about it, and why is he not there during the course of this debate? And even up until now, at this hour, we're what, 2 days away from his supposed reply in the House when he will close out the no confidence debate. We are not sure whether he will actually be the final speaker.
Jaka, I agree to what Supriya ji has said with a difference. Because it was decided that Nishikant Dubey will start from our side. So I think they might have not felt comfortable that Nishikant Dubey was capable enough to destroy what Rahul Gandhi ji was going to say. So this is going to be a far-flung imagination that Rahul Gandhi can come in match with Shri Narendra Modi ji, and he may get smashed by all those things, and they will not like to convert into a somewhat like US presidential election on the TV. It will de facto convert into that, where Rahul Gandhi will be speaking and then Modi ji will be speaking. The Congress will not dare to take that risk. As far as Manipur is concerned,
is your best bet.
You have mentioned
who
about
calls
the
his
court, so
colleague
it is
Vaishali
started.
ki Nagar Vadhu. That's the best you've got in your armor. Shame on you, Sudhanshu. That's the best you've got.
Please,
as far as
one at a time. Thank
court
you.
is concerned, you have taken the name of court, so I would like to remind the people, from 2018 to May 2023, there was total peace and calm in Manipur. It suddenly erupted out of a judgment by the court in which the government was having no rule. So that is animosity which was there between the two communities since last 75 years, one of the unfinished agendas of post-independence. And that has taken a very unfortunate turn. But I would like to ask those who are saying since 97 days the Manipur is burning and the opposition is raising the issue, but government was not giving a heed. I would like to ask, in these 97 days they assembled in Patna and also in Bengaluru. Can you quote a single joint statement about Manipur by the opposition? No. And then they are saying that they have kept everything and the parliament session will start. Okay. That I
Three
that
statements,
agreement-
don't lie. Three
That-
statements.
No,
Three.
one,
Three
one,
अरे भाई
statements.
मैंने कहा था
Ma'am,
आपने
please, one at a time, one at a
You
time.
can't be lying.
One at a time, please, one at a time.
I am
statements.
saying, as they are saying
Dr.
in
Trivedi.
Parliament, has they stopped the proceedings in Patna and Bangalore and created a specific, detailed statement of Manipur? The answer is no. Now, coming to the Parliament, and the Parliament suddenly, all sympathy and things emerge in Parliament. Then they said, they want the discussion, and government categorically said we are ready for 176. They said no. They have taken the rule issue. More significant is 267. Then they are saying because there is a limit of the time. The chairman has categorically said that 176 will have no limit, whatever time you want. Then say no, still we want 267. And 267 says that the discussion takes place when and then finally the concerned minister answered. No, we do not want concerned minister answer. We want the prime minister's answer.
You are
Okay,
really
we can
lying to
agree.
your team.
Then they say no.
You're a liar.
We want
Liar.
first the statement of the prime minister, and in the parliamentary rules, after
He's
the
lying.
statement of
He's lying
minister
to
or
his
prime
team.
minister, there is no discussion. So what they were saying,
You're a
they
liar,
were
Sudhanshu
not following the 267 rule. They were not following
lying to
the
your
statement
team.
rule. And suddenly, all the apathy, all the concern for 267 vanished the moment the bill for Delhi came. क्योंकि
Okay.
गठबंधन important हो गया. Suddenly, the alliance with Aam
Why
Aadmi
are you
Party
lying?
has become so
What is the compulsion to
overpowering
lie?
that
Okay.
Why
all
you
the
liar?
pain which they were having in Manipur
Okay.
and
He's such a
installing the
pathetic
parliament
liar.
for around
Why
10
you
days
lying?
Okay.
for 267,
He's such a
267,
liar.
Okay.
suddenly they left the 267 idea and agreed for discussion.
Let me go to Sushmita Dev.
So,
Sushmita
I
Dev,
think this is,
one of the
these facts are
arguments that has been
enough
put
for the
forth
country to understand.
by the BJP, and I think you heard the Home Minister speak about this some days back, is that there have been ethnic clashes in Manipur in the past. In 1992, between the Kukis and the Nagas. In 96-97, there was another set of ethnic clashes. No Prime Minister at that point, no Congress Prime Minister at that point, has gone to Manipur to assuage the concerns in the aftermath of an ethnic clash. So, to say that Mr. Modi has not gone there or he's imposed a no-fly zone on Manipur, his plane doesn't go to Manipur, is like the pot calling the kettle black.
Jaka, nobody has ever denied that in the past, not just Manipur, but many other states in Northeast have seen conflict between communities. We've never denied that. As you are aware, I come from Assam. But please understand when I tell you, as someone who's been to Manipur twice, because once Mamta Di sent a delegation, once I went in the India Alliance delegation. The current situation in Manipur which prevails today, please believe me when I say that it's unprecedented. We've had situations where national highways were blocked before. But what has happened in Manipur is the divide between two communities has gone to such an extent that it's like two states within a state. There are thousands of weapons that have been robbed by mobs from various police stations. And they are still out there, and the Supreme Court has said that the numbers are not matching up to what the Chief Minister is saying and what the police is saying in Manipur. So, if I tell your viewers today that Manipur nothing has happened in the past, it is not true. But please believe me when I say, what has happened in Manipur this time is unprecedented, and time will tell you. I'll also be here and so will you, Jaka. Time will tell you that to my mind it seems almost irreversible, and let me tell you what is compounding the situation there. The situation is being compounded by the fact that the people of Manipur believe that the government of India, which boasted of a double engine sarkar, which promised them peace, is today doing injustice to Manipur by not changing their chief minister, who has no confidence of the people in Manipur.
Okay.
This is the harsh reality. We can keep debating, but the reality is this. And I think it is a political decision. This is a political decision. This is not a decision BJP has taken in the greater interest of the people of Manipur. And as citizens of the country, all of us have to put away, we have to set aside, put aside our differences and save Manipur. And the first step is to ask the Chief Minister to step down.
Supriya wants to make a quick clarification, then I'll go to Smita after that. Yeah, Supriya.
I'm not making a clarification. I'm waiting for my turn to speak.
Oh,
because
okay.
you were going around
No,
the
I
table.
thought you were the one who said you
I
want
will just throw some.
Okay.
No.
My bad.
I'm just throwing some numbers at you. And I think those numbers are important for people of this country to hear. 60,000 people displaced, 5,000 houses burnt, 6,500 FIRs and 160 dead. That's not all. 35 police stations looted, 5,000 sophisticated weaponry, which includes AK-47 and light machine guns and all kinds of bombs in the hands of people. And guess what? 66 lakh bullets in the hands of people, which will be used against our army, which will be used against the police of Manipur, which will be used against innocent civilians. And just see what had happened 2 hours back. Assam Rifles and Manipur police are at war with each other. They are filing FIRs against each other. That's what bringing peace to a state means. That's what a double-engine government in the 21st century is doing. And let me tell you, why is Manipur different from anything that has happened in the past? And the most intellectually and morally bankrupt argument was today made by the BJP spokesperson on your show. That what happened in Bengaluru and Patna. Sir, आपको याद दिला दूं, सरकार में दिल्ली में और मणिपुर में आप हैं. You are in government. You keep boasting of a double-engine government, and when it comes to taking administrative decisions and bringing peace to the region, you are asking us. We have issued a joint statement each time we have met on Manipur, before the session and after. It is up to you to act, and your act is that Assam Rifles and the Manipur police are at war with each other. That's what you have done to this country. I also just want to point out one last thing, and then you can go to Smitaji. The last thing that I want to say is, this is not the first time the Prime Minister has chosen to be conspicuously quiet. He was quiet when the farm laws were imposed on people and 750 farmers died. He was quiet when Brajbhushan Sharan Singh was being saved and our most decorated athletes were talking about sexual exploitation. He was quiet when Delhi was in the throes of a riot in 2020. He was quiet on the I.N.D.I.A scam. And guess what? Gaurav Gogoi spoke against the Prime Minister and the Home Minister, not a squeak from the BJP. The moment he names Adani, the House erupts from the Treasury benches. Where do your loyalties lie? I mean, who is the Prime Minister of this country? So, who do you owe allegiance to? It looks like it's to Adani, quite frankly.
I'll give Smita the final word, but I think it's only fair that Sudhanshu Trivedi responds to all those charges. The most pressing, I think, would be what has happened just in the last couple of hours. The Manipur police today, Sudhanshuji, has filed an FIR against the Assam Rifles saying that they are aiding and abetting Kuki militants.
It's getting worse.
Two security agencies are at loggerheads. Sudhanshuji.
Definitely, I would like to remind, my thing, Supriya ji was not having that type, she is saying intellectual bankruptcy. Sir, there is a case in this country in which the two agencies of same government on the issue of terrorism were at loggerheads. You remember during the Ishrat Jahan case? The CBI and IB of the UPA government both were saying she was terrorist. Suddenly CBI changed the issue and both agencies were against each other in the court. Now, coming to what Smita Dev has said, that this was a political decision. I think,
let him finish, please.
आप कुछ भी बोल रहे हैं अभी मुझे पूरा बोलने दीजिए तब बात समझ में आएगी. Sushmita Dev ji has said this was a political decision. Ma'am, you have forgotten this was a judicial decision which has brought the situation to this extent. And Supriya ji has said, from where she has got the figure of 6 lakh bullets, I am unable to understand. अरे भाई चीखिए नहीं बीच में, अब अपने टर्न पे बोलिए. मैंने किसी का भी डिस्टर्ब नहीं किया था.
One at a time, yeah. Sudhanshu ji, yeah.
हाँ, I am unable to understand from where she has got the figure of 6 lakh. But I would like to remind that this has happened not for the first time in there. There was a time in which in Northeast, the entire ammunition of army has been stolen. And the army was unable to enter Mizoram. Mizo National Front declared Mizoram as an independent state. And then the Air Force bombarded Mizoram in March 1967. And not even for one day, for 6 or 7 days. इसलिए जब देश के बारे में बात करिए, संवेदना के साथ बात करिए. Be very sensitive, be very careful. And in 1993, 8 months of violence in Manipur, and there was a minor statement by MOS Home. And then in 2006, 2012, 1997, Armed Force Special Power Act was brought for Manipur, in which the armed forces were given a special power that they can book anybody without trial. So, from our childhood, we were discussing, hearing about Assam Accord and other things. Then you say it's different than anywhere. Yes, of course, I want to say it's different because the first time the government is showing sensitivity. Can she quote any instance in which on Manipur issue, the Prime Minister, before the House has come into being, has given a statement?
Okay.
And
I got to go to Smita Prakash for the final word.
He was from Assam.
I have to
how
wrap
many
up
times he visited
after this.
Assam? And how many times he
Smita
has
Prakash.
given his statement in 2006?
What is the solution
I want
to
an answer.
Manipur?
Okay, so
They don't have a solution in 97 days.
I guess we'll know through the course of the no confidence debate. But Smita
Vrat,
Prakash,
I have an issue with my cadre being down and Sudhanshu
final word to Smita Prakash. This, while the debate is on Manipur, ultimately the way it concludes day after tomorrow, it is going to set the stage for 2024. No doubt about it. If the Prime Minister speaks, surely he will be the headline act in the newspapers the next day. If Mr. Gandhi also speaks, and I believe the likelihood of him speaking on the final day is far higher, because I'm given to understand that tomorrow, for a substantial part of the day, he is in Rajasthan attending a rally. So I'm not sure whether he will be able to do the speech tomorrow. So it's likely that Mr. Gandhi will speak on the third day. The point is that will be the framing for 2024. It will be once again Modi versus Rahul. Whether the India alliance is okay with that, I don't know. I think that's a minor matter. I think the bigger matter is if that's the narrative and that's the framing and that's the choice before the people of India for 2024, why should we believe that the result will be any different from 2014 or from 2019? Do you have reason to believe, Smita Prakash, that the atmosphere of 2024 is different from what it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago?
Oh, it's totally different from what it was 5 years ago. But what I want to say is that in the next 48 hours, we will be probably wiser about what is happening in Manipur. It's an issue of concern. But of course, more has been said about the situation in Manipur in TV debates than in Parliament. There were so many speakers today, but other than Gogoi and Rijiju, there wasn't much spoken about Manipur, which was what was disappointing. That so many erudite speakers spoke today, but there wasn't so much focus on Manipur about facts and figures. I think tomorrow when the Home Minister speaks, we will probably get a clearer picture as far as what is happening out there with regards to Assam rifles and police and various other issues, and about the arms and weaponry which has been stolen. All those things we'll get to know. As far as what Mr. Trivedi said, absolutely correct. This is what happened in the Northeast. We know what has happened between the Kuki-Naga clashes before the Meitei-Kuki clashes have happened. Much before that. We know what happened in Nagaland. We know what happened in Mizoram. We know the conflict zones in Kashmir. We know what has happened
don't give the impression
Punjab.
it's business as usual,
in
because
all
it's
these
not.
places, it's...
Smitaji, don't.
Okay.
It is not business as usual. At no point of time did I say that it is business as usual.
Don't do the country this disservice.
It is not.
Okay.
Don't be so biased.
Okay.
Oh, it's happening.
Final word,
I
please.
did not say
I have
it
to
is business
conclude.
as usual.
You know nothing about Manipur.
I have to conclude.
You know
please.
absolutely
Please,
nothing about Manipur.
Suspita, I request you. I have to conclude. 30 seconds.
As I said, that 2020...
These are callous statements, Jaka.
Sure.
I mean, the limit to be a sycophant to the Modi government.
I have the paucity of time.
The next 48 hours, clearly the ruling party is clearly got the numbers to come clear in this no confidence motion. As far as the no confidence motion goes, it's a no-brainer that the ruling party is going to come clear and Mr. Modi is going to get the final word on this. Politically, what remains to be seen is who heads the India grouping. At the end of this, we'll get a clearer picture, I think.
Okay, all right. We'll leave it at that. We'll see how this
Smita,
plays
really,
out.
is that your conclusion?
I have to wrap up. Supriya, thank you. I have to wrap up, but she will stay on, and so will Sudhanshu Trivedi, because we have another pressing story which has happened in the backdrop of the last couple of days, and this has also found resonance in Parliament. We're shifting focus to now the political storm that's brewing over what is being called the NewsClick media scandal. It was raised in Parliament yesterday. The fireworks continue to be seen both inside and outside Parliament, both yesterday and today. Yesterday, the BJP's Nishikant Dubey accused the Congress and the Communist parties of working at the behest of the Chinese government to run an anti-India campaign via this news portal called NewsClick. Mr. Dubey, while speaking in the Lok Sabha, also alleged the involvement of former CPIM General Secretary Prakash Karat in supporting the Chinese-funded nexus. The BJP has even circulated an email between NewsClick founder Prabir Purkayastha and the US media mogul Neville Roy Singham, claiming that Singham coached Purkayastha to peddle Chinese propaganda. Now, this comes in the wake of the New York Times report claiming that a nexus of foreign entities under Neville Roy Singham have been funneling funds to NewsClick to push Chinese propaganda and bring pro-China journalists on its payrolls. The BJP claims that the entire ecosystem has only emerged because of patronage by opposition parties like the Congress, which came to NewsClick's defense when it was raided back in 2021. The Congress has dismissed these charges and called the attack a diversionary tactic from the core issue that is at hand, and that is the Manipur issue and the no-confidence motion in Parliament. So are these charges valid and clear surrounding the threat of Chinese-funded information warfare, or is it simply a political propaganda strike?
प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में मैं एक बताऊं, यदि न्यूज क्लिक का नाम यदि डिलीट या रेस्टोर हो गया, कांग्रेस को क्या समस्या है? सर, न्यूज क्लिक आपका कौन लगता है?
अगर मैं कहूं तो कांग्रेस, चीन, न्यूज क्लिक सभी एक भारत विरोधी गर्भनाल से जुड़े हुए हैं।
हम तो पहले सोचते थे सिर्फ कम्युनिस्ट पार्टी चाइना और रशिया के इशारे पे चलती है। फिर ध्यान में आया 2007-8 में कांग्रेस के परमानेंटली युवा नेता भी चाइना के इशारे पे चलते हैं, उनके साथ MOU करते हैं।
But Nishikant Dubey's mic was switched on, and his mic was on throughout his rant. The way he made defamatory and libelous accusations against the Congress party and against Rahul Gandhi.
मंत्रियों को बिना नोटिस इस तरीके की फजूल बयान, घटिया बयान नहीं दिए जा सकते हैं।
All right, joining us on the second talking point, it's a short face-off. We have Shehzad Poonawala, spokesperson of the BJP, Supriya Shrinate, national spokesperson of the Congress, and also head of the social media department of the Congress party. My humble request before we begin this face-off is please speak at your time and not when the other person is speaking, because that will be a great disservice to our viewers who are watching this program. Shehzad Poonawala, the first question to you. Yes, the New York Times has exposed in its investigation the links between this American millionaire, Neville Roy Singham, and one of the portals here in India, NewsClick. But how are you linking this to the Congress party? Just because the Congress party defended a news website while it was raided by the ED, what solid, concrete links do you have between these two entities to prove that they are working at the behest of anti-India interests or at the behest of Chinese propaganda elements?
Zaka, now it is fairly evident with not just the New York Times article, which I don't personally give any credence to, but the Congress party has been quoting it as gospel. And apart from that, there's an ED investigation. When that ED investigation was taking place, the likes of Supriya Shrinate and her colleagues in the Congress defended the organization. But what was actually being done? 38 crore rupees was funneled from the Chinese sources via this person, Mr. Singham, into Prabir Purkayastha's organization, and an attempt was made to drive stories which were anti-India, which was loaded with Chinese propaganda. These were stories on which the Congress also jumped into positions, for instance, against the Indian vaccines, against the Rafales, and forget everything else. Their own alliance partner, one of them, Mr. Prakash Karat, has email exchanges with Mr. Neville Roy Singham, where he's telling Mr. Neville Roy Singham, I thank you for a particular piece because the kind of anti-China sentiment that is being whipped up in the media. This is an on-record email, and there's nothing new for the Congress party to do this. INC means I need Chinese MOU. They have a standing MOU with the Chinese. I need Chinese money. You know that they have taken money into Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, for which the FCRA licenses were cancelled of Rajiv Gandhi Foundation. After they took that money, what was done? They were trying to get into RCEP. They surrendered our economic interests. You know the manner in which trade deficit was increased by 33%, the manner in which they did not build any LAC infrastructure. We also know how the Congress party compromised our territorial interests, whether it's in Aksai Chin or or Tia Pangna, Doomcheri, Demchok, or whether it's the 640 square kilometers that were incurred or the 600 incursions that took place as per their own government reports. So therefore, the Congress party has a very Purana itihas. And during Doklam crisis, who was eating food with the Chinese? Who was betraying Indian interests? Who questioned Indian soldiers on Galwan? Who said that Arunachal mein Cheen ne pitai kar diye?
So, Supriya Srinath, respond. I mean, you know, you defending NewsClick, that is not so much a substantive allegation, but the more substantive allegation, and this the BJP has been saying against you for a long time now, make public the contents of this MOU signed between the Congress party and the CCP back in 2008, and two, come clear on this money supposedly granted to the Rajiv Gandhi Foundation, which was in violation of FCRA rules by Chinese entities.
No, that's a stupid, silly argument that I'm not going to respond to. But I will first lay the ground for what this is all about. You know, New York Times, Washington Post, the Wall Street Journal are all a part of some international conspiracy against the Modi government. And suddenly they are saying the gospel truth, which is being quoted in Parliament by their information and broadcasting minister outside and everybody. So, you know, this opportunism and this vile opportunism of the worst kind is something that only the BJP is capable about. That's point number one. Point number two, I neither hold a brief for NewsClick nor do I hold a brief for any news publication. But the reality is that anybody who shows a mirror to the Modi government, anybody who asks them tough questions will be harassed. There was a reporter, and God bless his soul because he's no longer alive. उसने मिर्जापुर में बच्चों को नमक रोटी मिल रही थी, उसके ऊपर UAPA का केस कर दिया. My namesake Supriya Sharma at the Scroll did a story how Musahars were forced to eat grass in Varanasi, you know, an anti-establishment UAPA case against her. That's how they misuse the powers that rest with them. That's the first point I want to make. Who the hell are they to talk about China? 20 Jawans were killed. 20 of our brave hearts died in Galwan. It's been over 3.5 years. We have not restored a status quo ante. We have not taken China head on. In fact, when the opportunity came to ask China why they did what they did, the Prime Minister wore a red shirt instead of showing red eyes and met Chinese President Xi Jinping. He did not. He has given them a clean chit that China uses during our core commander level talks. We have converted our patrolling points into buffer zones. We have taken the trade of China, the trade deficit, to $100 billion. And guess what? China was our chosen trading partner number 1 for 3 years. I actually have some counter questions. What is Amit Shah as president doing with the Chinese Communist Party here? What is Ram Madhavan doing with the Chinese Communist Party here? What is JP Nadda doing with this Chinese delegation? Who are these people that the Bharatiya Janata Party keeps going and meeting in China? What sort of training do they need from the Chinese? This is an entire delegation. It went in 2004, in 14, in 19 and 2021. Here are the women leaders of the BJP who went and met the Chinese guys. So let's understand one thing. You cannot run helter-skelter because you are answerable to this country. Answer to this country, why were our patrolling points converted into buffer zones? Answer to this country, you banned some stupid apps and you took the trade deficit with China to $100 billion. You meet China. Here is the swing that Mr. Modi was sitting on. Mahabalipuram से लेकर शहनाई वादन सुन रहे थे. चाइना की गोदी में आप बैठे हुए हैं. 18 बार चीन से आप मिलते हैं. सरकार आपकी है. और मुझे बस एक बात का जवाब चाहिए. One question that I need an answer to. Which are the Chinese companies that have given you money in Prime Minister Cares Fund and how much have they given? Why is that a state secret? You are not under the CAG. Nobody knows how much money you got. Why? Why? That's all that I'm asking.
On the LAC situation, you still have not resolved after 3.5 years. We have not gone back to status quo ante. So please respond as to why, you know, when the Congress party asks you that question, what is your reply? And two, on the trade issue, today we are trading more with China than at any given fiscal year when the UPA was in power. So it's not like you've done anything to, lessen the trade with China.
More. You are wrong there. We are trading far more with China.
Yeah, that's what I said. That's what I said, Supriya. You are trading far more with China
far
now
more
than with any other.
Zaka, you have set the debate rules, and I hope they will be followed.
Yeah.
Now, I hope she will not interrupt me when I am placing facts. Here is the statement of the Northern Army commander. Getting China to pull back behind Finger 8 is a huge success for us. She just peddled a lie. She's also peddled lies about how the Congress party, first of all, the MOU was questioned even by the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court said it is absurd for a political party to have an MOU with an international political party and with an international government. She does not answer about that. She asked us, Madam, I tell you, you built no infrastructure at the LAC, and in the last 9 years, let me tell you what we have done, because education is good for you. DSDBO road upgraded to class 70, 33 bridges, 9 tunnels including Sela Tunnel. BRO built 60,000 kilometers of road, 693 bridges, habitat for 22,000 troops, 2,000-kilometer highway along the McMahon line, 3 inter-corridor highways in Arunachal Pradesh, and I can go on and on. But let me ask you, do not interrupt Supriya Shrinet. Please wait for your turn. Supriya Shrinet, you are a very prominent personality. You tweeted for NewsClick. How many times did you tweet for those organizations that were being subjected to all kinds of ill treatment in Kerala? Zaka knows better about the media organizations that have faced such kind of trouble from the Kerala government. Not one tweet. And Ms. Supriya Shrinet, please tell me, I asked you specifically, what about the funds that have been received by the RGF from the Chinese government and the Chinese embassy? You have half-baked information about where money came from into PM Care Fund, although you do not have any specific proof. If you did, you would have gone to courts. But where there is specific information put out by your own RGF that yes, we took money from the Chinese in terms of the Chinese embassy and the Chinese government, you have not a word to answer. And if you're showing me pictures, here is a very famous picture. This picture is of Rahul Gandhi signing the MOU with Xi Jinping. And there's another famous picture. This is of a picture of you betraying India when we were giving them an eye-to-eye confrontation in Doklam. What were you doing there? Randeep Surjewala first said that there was no such meeting, and then you changed the goalpost when the pictures came out.
Okay.
So Supriya Shrinet, stop your immature gibberish.
Final word,
and please answer the
Supriya
question about why you took money from
final
the
word. Again, it comes back to the question of Rahul Gandhi. I think the last time he went, I think it was in London, where he reportedly praised China. He reportedly praised China at a time when this situation at the LAC has not been resolved.
He did a PPT presentation. It's black and white.
I am not talking to you. Don't speak in between. Don't speak in between.
You are not the Queen of England. You are not the Queen of England.
So
we are in a debate. You are not the Queen of England. Please mind your manners and mind your language, Supriya Shrinet. You please mind your manners. You are talking to a national spokesperson of the BJP. You better mind your manners.
Final word, Supriya Shrinet.
You mind your
30
manners.
seconds. I have to wrap up. 30
Taking money
seconds.
from the Chinese and acting
30 seconds. Yes. Please
you give him 2.5 minutes and I get 30 seconds.
Ma'am, we have ad breaks to take. You are familiar with that. Go ahead.
You spoke about a speech. Have you heard that speech? I'm asking you as an anchor. You ask a question, be responsible enough to tell me a yes or a no. Don't tell me reportedly. Because if you're asking me a question, either you tell me a yes or you tell me a no.
So
and if you say a no, then you have no business asking
You respond
me
by saying that your leader
no,
did not make that
speech. No, you asked me a wrong
speech.
question. So I'm now telling you that you have no locus standi to ask the question because you haven't heard the speech. The speech that this country wants to hear is ये लाल शर्ट में जो मोदी जी खड़े हैं शी जिनपिंग के साथ अपने खाने की थाली छोड़कर 20 जाबाजों की शहादत के बाद ये बदला लिया है नरेंद्र मोदी जी ने चीनियों से। ये है असलियत इस देश की। झूले पर घूमते हैं, अमित शाह गलबैया करते हैं, ये असलियत है। That is the reality.
Okay, I've got to wrap up. I'm completely out of time. Thank you very much to Supriya Shrinet and to Shehzad Poonawalla. It was a curtailed debate today because of the paucity of time. That's a wrap, but thank you very much for tuning in. I'll catch you again tomorrow night, same time.
Presented by.
Let me start off with Dr. Trivedi. The contention of the India parties is that they wanted this debate. They know fully well that the numbers are not on their side, Dr. Trivedi, that the NDA has overwhelming numbers in the Lok Sabha. The only reason they had to move this no confidence in the Lok Sabha was to get the Prime Minister to speak. And today at the start of the debate, he was not present in the House. Please respond. Dr. Sudhanshu Trivedi, that question is to you, sir.
The question is to me.
Yes, that is to you.
थोड़ी आवाज आपकी क्रैक हो रही है, इसको ठीक करवा दीजिएगा
जी.
I just want to make one point, what you have said. It has nothing to do with the Prime Minister. It has nothing to do with the government, because they are very clear in their mind that they are standing nowhere in front of the towering personality of Prime Minister, Shri Narendra Modi, or can stand anywhere as far as the national aspect is concerned in front of NDA or BJP. It has to do with the mutual competition among the various opposition parties to prove that they are bigger. For example, I have already said that when Rahul Gandhi embarked on the Bharat Jodo Yatra, it was to show the other opposition party their place, because several leaders have started nurturing the ambition of taking the space of the principal opposition party, whether it was Sharad Pawar ji, Nitish Kumar ji, Kejriwal ji, KCR or Mamta ji. Now, since Aam Party has forced Congress to support them on Delhi bill, so they have taken the route of no confidence motion. Now with this they can show to all political parties, look, as far as opposition is concerned, we are the prime player and you are just playing on the sidelines. Because in parliament it's very clear. You get the time of speaking based on the strength of your party. So if as far as opposition is concerned, definitely Aam Aadmi Party will be the, Congress Party will be the biggest, having the lion's share. तो मैं तो ये कहना चाहूंगा, this is nothing but a tactics or strategy by Congress Party to show the other opposition party their real face.
Okay.
That you have left with no other option to come and stay behind the line us, and then we can lead the opposition party. We can lead the opposition.
Okay, so Supriya Srinath, at the start of the debate, there were messages, even last night, this morning, messages that our Congress reporters were receiving, messages that were flying around on social media, that Rahul Gandhi will start the debate. This will be his first speech in Parliament after his return, after disqualification. But that was not to be. And we're given to understand that that is because Mr. Gandhi wants to speak only when the Prime Minister is present in the House. What was the point of all of that speculation, all of those messages doing the rounds that Mr. Gandhi will start the debate? And why this insistence? Once again, isn't this highlighting the fact that more than the no confidence, more than Manipur itself, which is the issue of this no confidence, you are insistent that Mr. Modi speak and that Mr. Modi be in the House? That's why Rahul Gandhi did not want to.
Hello, Namaskar. This is First Post and you're watching Vantage with me, Palki Sharma. China is suffering from an economic long COVID. Experts say the signs are not good. Numbers show they're definitely not good. Exports have fallen, imports have dropped. Debt levels are high, and the government's solution to this crisis is ideology. They're teaching the Xi Jinping thought to China's bankers. Meanwhile, the rest of the world is bracing for a food crisis. Climate change and conflict have hit supplies. Major producers like India and China are registering lower output. Prices are rising the world over. In Europe, Poland and Lithuania are bracing for conflict. Wagner forces are conducting drills on their border. The Taliban want to unleash suicide bombers to settle a water dispute. India will investigate the mysterious Havana syndrome. America wants to celebrate India's Independence Day as National Day of Celebration. And air pollution is making antibiotics useless. What does it mean and why should you care? We'll discuss all of that. The headlines first. Niger's coup leaders remain defiant. They name Ali Mehman Zen as their new Prime Minister.